Good afternoon, everybody. We believe help with in the resettlement here to the United States will certainly help the at least 10,000 Syrian refugees that the U.S. government will be taking in next fiscal year. Certainly, there's a tangible benefit to those that are admitted, but it also underscores, and I think it's important to remind that there's a lot more to dealing with the problem of refugees than just resettlement. You know, we've talked about this before, and the United States continues to remain the biggest donor. We don't expect that to change at all going forward. We talked about this yesterday. There are lots of things that we do around the world, not just in respect to what's going on in Europe, to aid in refugee care, refugee human rights, and sometimes refugee settlement. The other thing that's important to continue coming back to is that what really needs to happen here is Syria returning to a place, to being a place where people don't have to flee the violence, the persecution, and the war.
The first thing is kind of a logistical thing.
I'm going to let the Russians speak for what they are doing. I've seen Foreign Minister Lavrov's comments. We continue to have concerns about their activities from a military perspective inside Syria, and we continue to monitor this closely. There is a degree of uncertainty about their intentions that continue to concern us.
But I mean, sure, it's the wealth and its humanitarian obligation to the crisis of refugees.
What's important to us is that a political transition moves forward in Syria, and while in general I think we'd welcome a constructive Russian contributions to counter ISIL, we oppose any actions in Syria that would empower the regime to escalate the conflict.
You indicated that you expect the Israelis to apprehend the perpetrators.
We don't believe, and I've said this before, that helping arm the Assad regime or support the Assad regime is constructive to going after the problems inside Syria. Whether it's towards that political transition, obviously, or towards fighting ISIL, because Assad's a factor in ISIL's growth inside his own country. So we've been very clear about what we think would be, and I said this the other day, the most productive path here is for countries like Russia and Iran to stop supporting and abetting the Assad regime. And I mess up.